was a hot day, the sun was hurting my eyes. I was bracing myself for a Saturday night, focused, hot and ready to take it on. There came a ringing on the telephone. She said, I'm thirsty and I've nothing to drink. Could you come over here and make a stop on the way? You think I drank all of mine, but I still feel like some more. If you're bringing my juice, well, boy, you might score. And all seemed okay. It's not like I'm making it every day, but I got an issue with you drinking me dry, so I'm gonna have to scratch you, honey. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. East side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. East side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. Story does go. The candy girl sticks it way up in her nose. Where she goes, folks are watching her go. Stick it in the dirt, way up in her nose. Take her back, hear the slap, she's hitting on the floor. She's got no emotion, but she knows the need for more. Always getting smashed, but she never knows high. Second get dresses in, out she go. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. Goodbye. This state of play's massive. I'm sick of being passive. There's a lot of shit around me that's making me aggressive. Too many drugs, kitty chug-a-lugs, the same old pubs with the very same mugs, the same dirty huts with the same dirty bugs. Getting down, upside down, friendly on the rug. The same old dirty sluts with the danko pups like jugs. I'd rather get down with you, bendy on the rug. I don't really care if you're supermodel fine. If you ship me with your shit, I'll give you less of my time. If you show my head with hassle or you're drinking too much wine. If you ship me creepy Charlie's running up and down my spine. When you're up in my face, spitting laced lies, I wanna fly away and crawl and curl up tight and die. No girl should make me think of words like I and I. Sorry baby, this is gravy, no more maybe. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. Side, east side, east side. Your mum's from the east side. I saw your mum over on the east side. She was selling fun to the kids. I saw your mum over on the east side doing favors for all the pigs. We're all from the east side. I saw your mum on the east side.
Oh, why
is this the beginning? Oh, this is the beginning.
This is the very beginning.
Oh, hey.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on?
You guys both
I am in a brand new location.
Am I bright today?
Right, good. You can see
Hold on,
all
here you
of
go.
your non-existent pimples.
There you
and
go.
now you're dark.
Is that better? All right.
I know.
Is that better? Does it feel? Hold on. You want 50? You want 50? Is that good?
No, 50's too dark.
50's too dark. What about 25?
Little more.
A little more? Okay.
You look kind of buttery right now.
Little buttery.
There it is. Golden.
Minus
Look at
10.
that
All right. You
complexion.
guys go minus 10. You like it. All right. Let's go for it.
We'll stick with that until it fails us.
What do you got going on?
Not a lot.
What are you
Not a lot at
doing?
all.
What's happening, man? It's like Tuesday. God, I'm excited.
Yeah,
There's a
really.
spider web over here. Oh my God. Get out of
I
here.
had one of those on my hand before that I pulled out of my moustache. I think a spider was nesting in my moustache.
It's spider time of year around here.
Every time of year is spider time of year.
No, they're sort of seasonal around here. I don't. Australia, it's always hot or whatever, so they're just doing their thing.
Yeah, they've got enough insects to eat. When
So when it's like,
food.
so like summertime, they'll sort of migrate outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When it starts getting to wintertime, they're like, "Hey, you got a house? You got a house in there? You got inside area? Oh baby, I'm coming in."
Them
They just
and
show
those little ants come in at the same time.
Oh yeah, the little moisture ants.
Mm-hmm.
There's a name for them. I talked to the insect guy the other day, and he was very excited because we had a different kind. Not here at the one of the locations. The guy was very excited about the type of little tiny ant. He's like, no, these aren't moisture ants. Even though they look the same, they're not. And I'm like, okay, well, what do we do? And he's like, well, we put out these little traps. I'm like, oh, so it's the exact same thing. It's like, I don't know. Okay. Very exciting time, bug guy. Okay. But he was very friendly, very nice, and did a good job, and so no complaints. But it was funny to see his enthusiasm of like these are a different little tiny ant, not those ones.
I've always found that bug and reptile people are generally quite nice.
Yeah.
Decent human beings.
They're
But
definitely.
what about exterminators?
Well, that's who he was. He's an exterminator guy.
They still tend to do
like
their stuff.
all the ones I've met are nice, but they're professional killers.
Insect hitmen.
Well, yeah. Well, because normally it's like you have an interest in the bugs and stuff, right? And so then you end up in that like line of work. Not always, but generally speaking, people end up like, how do I monetize my interest, right?
Yeah, there's not many paying jobs for entomologists out there.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons of work for entomologists. I bet you there's boatloads. I just don't think there's very many people going through 7 years of, post 7 years of college to get that degree to actually go do it.
I nearly forgot that thing that we always do, so I better get some g'days out. James.
Oh, hold on. Before we do that, we got to do it today. We have to absolutely do it. Shout out to Replay Team 6. At the beginning, leave your comment. Replay Team 6, where are you? We got to know. At the beginning, not at the end. We always do it at the end, and I bet you they've fallen asleep by then. Right?
There has been a few comments each episode. Well, not necessarily each episode, but there's the occasional comment. Someone from Replay Team 6 reporting in.
It better be every day. We should be getting those comments every day, constantly, nonstop, always coming in, right?
So yeah, Replay Team 6, bring it on. We love you just as much as the people who are here live.
All right, do your shout outs. I'm going to fact check your shout outs.
Right, James Hekulak first, back on top, James. Well done. Big bucket of kudos out to you in the post. Huawei, love you too. That one's especially for Huawei. 503 Aquatics, no idea who that is, but welcome. Sky Dancer, hello, thank you, I am well, thank you. Kiwi Mamo, kia ora, how are you? Welcome as always. I'll try and get through this list before I've got to do what I've got to do. Vitra, how are you? Kat McKenzie, welcome back, good to see you. New local Austin is here for it. I hope I pronounced that right. Here for it. Glitch Aquatics, how you doing? Welcome back. GRB, g'day mate. How are you? How's the West treating you? WA go into daylight savings? No, they don't do it, do they? I don't think.
Who?
Western Australia. Benoxky, how are you, bro? Crikey, I just said bro. I rarely say bro. Sunfish for fish, how are you? Distracted by my birds. They're going to start squeaking at me because they're out of seed. Yeah, it was funny the other day. I store my excess bird seed in a glass jar, and they've determined a new way to let me know when they're out of seed. They fly over to the glass jar and peck on it and go ting, 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 ting. May not be deliberately to get me to get it out, but they can certainly see that there's seed in there. Who else have I missed? Hopefully no one. I think I got you all. I know there's some more just turned up. It's all Corvus and Vitra and everyone else who's chatting still. Welcome. Sunfish for fish. You're new here. Yeah, old school. You've been around for yonks and yonks. Righto, someone else talk for a second because I have to mute my microphone.
What happened? Why you got to mute? Why is he got to mute? What happened?
I think he might be coughing, sneezing,
He's farting.
rolling up,
He's
sneezing.
farting. He's farting. I know.
Farting.
I put farts in the chat and it made him fart.
I hope he didn't have an incident.
What's going on? What's going on with your fish tanks, Shanna? What's happening? What do you got?
With my
Something
fish
new?
tanks? Oh
Something
my gosh. So it's
Something
been
old?
very big things happening. I got Ian a super sick saltwater setup, a water box with a sump, like a display.
Uh-huh.
And then I picked up a 20-gallon water box cube all in one with the auto top off. I actually haven't picked it up yet, but I got it. I have to go back next week to get that.
Mm-hmm.
This last week we picked up those. And then my hyphen varieties platies are like, they survived the summer of isolation. And so did the bristlenose plecos. So I've got those back. Pretty big things in the fish room. And I got to make a little room in my tanks for Fishtoberfest, which is this weekend.
The
I saw you pulling
Fishtoberfest.
your tops apart the other day too, eh?
Somebody said I should go to Fishtoberfest. When is it?
It's this weekend. Saturday at 9. It opens at 9:30. Stephen P. performs the song he made for it. And then at 10, Dr. Mazerel starts speaking. And I think the vendor's room is open from 9 to 6 or 10 to 6. I'm not sure.
Is it just Saturday?
No, it's Saturday and Sunday. And then at 1 o'clock, there's a big auction.
Surely
Yeah,
you
but I
can't
just
have
I
the
just want to
best
come
one
hang
day.
out at your guys' houses.
Oh, at Kenny's house. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I've been to Kenny's house.
Yeah. It's dope. That's where the
Are you
get-togethers
fan?
normally are. Kenny's and the hotel. Because everybody's staying at the hotel.
At the hotel?
The Sheraton by the airport. Because it's the Sheraton that's
Classy.
by the airport.
That's where all the conventions are at.
Well, last year we were at Embassy Suites and we were scheduled to be there this year again and had everything all set up. And then like a few months ago, they're like, just kidding. We need to remodel, find somewhere else to go. And the Sheraton was like amazing, helped set us up at the last minute. Like we have the auditorium and then the vendor area. And yeah, we had a whole book of rooms. Those are all gone now. But
Yeah, Embassy Suites is generally where the conventions are, the smaller ones. Embassy Suites or what's that? Crap, what's that hotel? Hold on, I'll figure this out.
Is it normally a big show or is it only a new show?
Last year we had like 1,000 people come
Double
just
tree.
for the show. So plus all of the participants. So it was pretty big for its first year, and this is the second year. So hopefully we'll get similar numbers.
Cool. Did you find what you were looking for, Joel? I mean, Bink, son of Rob.
Yeah, the double tree. It's the old double tree in SeaTac. You'd think I would remember that, but I didn't.
Double tree.
Double tree, Embassy Suites, or the Sheraton. Those are always the three.
The fanciest yet most affordable.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's funny because you'll go to like just get a room during an event, and they're like $279 a night, and I'm like, what? And then you get like the discount, and it's like $135. I'm like, wow, that's an impressive markup. Wow.
Yeah. No, I like
Discount
to
for
do
being
the
gold.
I like to do the baller move and just stay down the street at a different hotel.
I always have a spot to go run away to. Like I get a little bit overwhelmed with all the people, so I luckily this time, like with it being right next to the airport, it's literally 7 minutes from my house because I live across the river from the airport. So I just have to scoot down, get on the freeway, scoot down the freeway, get off.
Yeah.
It could be like 3 minutes, but it never is.
So aggressive, Steve.
No? Yeah. I mean, you got airplanes flying over your house. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, but I don't really hear them very often. Like, mostly if I'm outside and trying to record something, then I'm like, why are we in a flight path? But when I'm in the house, I don't ever even notice it. I probably did at first, but not now.
You've just acclimated.
I figure.
Yeah.
That seems about right.
What's going on? What's going on in this chat? What? Okay, people are taking coffee breaks. I can get behind that, Pamela.
Mm.
People are saying no fireball. Oh. I've been sober for a long time, but Fireball was around when I used to party, and I still don't understand why people drink it. There's not even enough liquor in it to make it worthwhile. You'd be out there paying like $11 for a shot of Fireball, and it's like 10% alcohol or something. It's like, that's not a shot. Just get some whiskey. Get some whiskey and some juice, and you'll be fine.
What is the proof of Fireball? Like 30% or something.
What's that?
Fireball, the alcohol.
It's
content.
like 32 proof or something. So it's half that.
I think Punchy's use of it in coffee is probably the best way to have it.
Isn't it more like malt liquor as opposed to alcohol?
Yeah. It's only 33 proof.
Doesn't that mean it's only 17%, 16.5%?
Yeah, 16%. So I guess I kind of overshot it with the 10%, but still, it's not 80 proof. It's not 100 proof. Like, what's the point? Why are you wasting your money? Just get a White Claw and a shot of whiskey, and you'll be fine, right? Or some tequila. See, Kat's got a good point. Just drink that worm liquor and get weird. Go big. Why not?
It's been a long time since I've had one of those tequila worms.
Yeah, it's been well over 8 years for me, at least, plus.
I can happily, safely, proudly say I never ate a tequila worm.
Why not?
Because they didn't drink tequila.
No. You just go for it.
Ugh.
I thought there was tequilas as well that had the worms. Huawei saying mezcal.
Yeah, mezcal is a type of tequila.
All
Isn't
mezcal.
that like a hallucinogenic?
No,
Yeah, all mezcals are tequila, but not all tequila is mezcal. Yes.
that's what I was trying to say. There's a cactus plant that sounds like it's got a similar name That's your hallucinogenic. What's it called? Bloody hell! All the druggos in the
Oh,
chat.
mescaline?
Well,
No,
it's like
mescaline.
all Scotch. It's like all Scotch is whiskey, but not
But
all
not
whiskey
all
is Scotch.
whiskey is Scotch. Because Scotch can only be made in Scotland, right? No.
Nah,
What's the kind of,
No.
is that a kind of,
it's more about the process and what it's made
It's-
of.
Yeah, it's the peat and everything. Is it peaty? Does it have some peat? Yeah, but
All
What's up?
hornets are wasps, but not all wasps are hornets.
yeah,
There's so many of those. Peyote,
There's a
that's the one.
bunch.
You Huawei come through. That's the little cactusy one that makes you trip out a bit.
peyote? Yeah. I've seen peyote growing before. You're muted, Dr. Black. I've never had it though. It's a super cute little cactus. It looks kind of like a succulent. It's sort of like a chunky little cactus.
A living rock.
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, if you've never done peyote, I recommend it. Give it a shot. You'll be experiencing some weirdness. I'll put it that way.
I'd like to get some just to grow them in the succulent garden. Because, yeah, there's lots of those living rocks that are very cool. And then when they flower, they have these bizarre looking little flowers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not hot. It's not hot enough consistently where I live, so
Crikey,
they're
some
gonna
of
be
my
snow.
succulents at the moment are sunburnt. Getting too much sun.
Today was crazy. It was so smoky that it was foggy all day today. It was weird.
It was foggy over here.
The smoke was in the air, so that made it foggy, and it was like doing this weird light raining stuff, but it wasn't supposed to be raining. It was supposed to be clear and sunny today, but there was so much smoke in the air that like moisture was gathering on the smoke and falling and making like fog. It was bizarre.
The smoke
Currently,
created.
my current weather report down here says 60 degrees and clear, and the air quality is lightly polluted.
It's clear weather-wise, but you can't actually see the sky.
But it's polluted, bro. Yeah, we got a big fire still burning out of control over that way, and it's bringing in the smoke because we got the westerly winds coming down the mountain instead of up the mountain. Is that how that works? The direction it blows in is the direction that it's going, right? Oh,
Like where it's coming
from? It's coming from. Okay, so it's easterly right now. So it's coming from the
Oh,
east.
that's hot, dry wind.
It's going backwards. Yeah, it's coming from the east. There we go. We'll just clarify which way it's coming from. There we go. It's coming from the east, and it's going back towards the ocean, and it's pulling all the smoky forest fire air down here, which is fun because then you're like,
Is
Why
your
am
is the fire contained? It's out of
well,
control.
they had announced that it was 97% contained, and then later on there was a news conference where they said those guys got fired. They're idiots. F those guys. It's 36% contained, but 97% of the 36% is what's containment. It was an Anchorman moment. You know, they're like 60% of the time it works every time. You know, you're like, what the. So you're 97% complete on 36% of containment. Okay, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one because it's like it's normally when it burns like this, it's like up in a mountain, you know, and they're like, well, it's way up there, dudes. Like, what do you? The mountain's I don't know. The mountain's on fire, bro. Like, what do you want us to do?
That kind of is how they act when it's up on the mountain. They're like, nah.
They're like, bro, it's up. I don't know. Yeah. Right now, it's like right next to the highway. Like, It's literally like burning along the highway. It's like drive there. You just drive to the fire. You don't even have to get out of your car. You'd be at the fire. Like, what do you mean you? It's hard to access because it's like right next to the road, guys. I mean, what do you want
Have
me to
you
do?
tried taking the freeway there?
What do you want me to do? Get out? Oh, no. Nah, I'm not doing it.
Smoke.
Yeah, it's too smoky out here, bro. What do you want me to do? Yeah, so, I mean, respect to the firefighters. Love those guys. I think we're at the point where they're going to, I think they're going to call in the military reserve guys. Which it's been like 20 years since they've had to do that in our state, but I think they're getting to that point where they're going to call in the Marines, the Marine Corps, to just shoot the fire. They're going to shoot the fire.
On
Trump
the Army
style.
Corps of Engineers, maybe something like that. Don't those guys handle that kind of stuff?
Well, that's the Army, not the Marines. So those are two.
They're not going to shoot anything.
Those are two different branches of the military. They bring in Marines to do the grunt work, firefighting. They go dig lines and stuff. It's pretty rare, but like, there's not. I mean, the only really big war that's happening right now is it's in Ukraine, and we legally can't send people there. So
might as well have a war on fire.
Might as well have a war on fire. You know what I mean? Start shooting some fires. Do it. Go on full on. Get weird and just start M16 and down some fire.
With incendiary rounds.
Sometimes they backburn to put out fires. That actually is a thing.
Yeah, yeah, they backburn. Mm-hmm. Huawei says in Idaho they use prison inmates for hotshot firefighters.
All over they do.
They do that in California and Idaho. I don't think they do that in Washington. I don't think they might, but I've never heard of it happening in Washington. I would say that like if you released some of the prisoners in Washington to go do firefighting, you probably never see them again. They just go run off Bigfoot style into the just embrace the Sasquatch, and they're just out. They'd be gone. They'd run off,
I can't remember in Oregon a few years ago when we had the big burn, if it was our prisoners that were coming in to fight the fires with the firefighters, or if it was people from out of state coming in. But we definitely had inmates there, whether they were flown in or locals.
I don't know. I don't know that you can transport. I don't know if you can transport prisoners across state lines or not.
Federal, for sure.
Yeah, federal ones, but you don't want the federal prisoners getting loose.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm sure that only use low security ones.
Those guys are especially criminals or some kind of white collar guy who probably doesn't even know which end of the shovel is pointy,
Like they're probably not sending inmates who are in for arson out to a bushfire.
Look, that might, like, if they were like choosing to use their powers for good instead of evil, that might work. Sounds like a good movie either way. Actually,
true arsonists in the U.S. end up in mental care facilities. That's mental care facility jail, whatever that's called. Like somebody who actually goes around like lighting a bunch of fires, like actual arsonists, like they're crazy. They're actually just off the reservation. They're wackadoodle, and they're like, you can't just put this guy in jail. But although my cousin, who was a prison guard at the one of the big prisons in Washington, they have these separate cells for the crazy people, right? The crazy inmates. They have to put them in isolation, and then they have to be in these special rooms where they watch them with a camera. So they have like a CCTV camera, and then they get on the microphone to talk to them. They don't go into the cells. And he was telling me this story about one of the prisoners. He was crazy and had like killed a couple people because of magnets. He was deathly afraid of magnets, and the magnets made him do it, is what his claim to fame was. And one of the guys, so one of the guards who had been there a really long time was showing him that, like, if this guy starts acting out, here's what you do. And it turns out you would tell him that you have a magnet. He'd be like, hey, if you don't calm down, I'm going to get the magnet. And the guy would like freak out, and eventually he would calm down. But then if he wouldn't calm down, you'd start making what they claimed to be a magnet noise, which was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And he would stop. He would stop because he'd be threatening him with the magnet. I guess if you pointed a gun at the guy, he just was like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. But if you had a magnet or claimed you had a magnet, it would bring him directly to halt, I guess. But my cousin didn't last long doing that. He was he was a prison guard for like, I don't know, 6 months or something like that, and then he was just like, I gotta get out of here. This is absolutely insane.
I imagine it's one of
like
those jobs that takes a special kind of individual to stick
It
out.
really does,
So
man. Yeah. I mean, that's like high security prison too, because he had like all his military background and everything. So he was like qualified to do it, but he was like, it'd take a real special character to do that job.
One of the best prison movies, The Ghost and the Civil Dead.
The Ghost and the Civil Dead?
Yeah, it's got Nick Cave in it. He plays a lovely lunatic.
Nick Cave of the Bad Seeds?
The same Australian-made movie about it's basically a commentary on the super prison system of the States, but made down here for some reason. And it's mostly Australian actors and whatnot. It is all Australian actors, I think.
You mean
Great.
the prison industrial complex?
That's what I meant to say, yeah. What did I say?
Yeah. A super prison system? I don't know.
I was thinking of Super Jail, that cartoon.
Right.
It's a very good movie. A very good movie.
Oh my gosh.
A bit gross and a bit full on.
Hey.
She's going to
Sorry, I'm trying to mute.
dog jail. That dog's going to dog jail.
That dog's barking and it wasn't even moving its mouth.
Ventriloquist dog.
That's how a pug's bark sound, isn't it?
It's the new horror flick. The ventriloquist dog throws its barks into your house, terrorizing the people.
G'day, two dogs.
Kat McKenzie says we had Aussie firefighters here in BC, Canada, for the fires last year. Was pleased to have them help. You're gonna have to do some paternity testing pretty soon coming up here. If those Aussie firefighters were up there, glistening in the Canadian sun.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They're just all tan and glistening with their goofy Aussie accents. Come on. You think the BC? You think the humans of BC could resist? I don't think they could resist.
The favour does get returned because I think in the bushfires down here 2 years ago, I think we had firefighters from Canada and the US come out.
Yeah, I bet they did because your fire season is in our off season. Everything's wet and hurricane in here when your guys are catching on fire. So they're like, well, there's no fire. It's all wet. It's all moist. We got to go. Let's go fight fire in Australia. But yeah. I think I would go fight fires in Australia. Why not? How does that work? How's that work in Australia? Does an American accent go a long way in Australia?
I don't quite know what you mean. Like, do you still get spoken to like you're a normal human?
Well, I guess I'll put it this way. The opposite sex in the U.S., generally like Australian or British or Italian accents, all that kind of stuff. It goes well in the dating scene,
Yeah, I couldn't honestly tell you. I've never dated an American woman. and I don't know any Australian girls who are dating or have dated American men.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess because it's so prolific and spread around the world, it's not so exotic, the American accent.
Yeah.
We all hear it on our tellies all around the world non-stop. So,
Oh,
something
yeah.
so exotic like the Australian accent is very arousing.
There's only like 30 or 40 of you guys anyhow, so
Yeah, you don't hear
it's
it
pretty
that often.
rare. It's
G'day,
rare.
Tui. Yeah, I mean, how many Australian characters are on regular network television shows over there speaking in Australian accents?
Yeah, they're not. They're on TV. They just don't speak in Australian accents.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched 10 Things I Hate About You the other day with Heath Ledger in it, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether they wanted him to speak in an American accent or not, but he spoke his Australian accent in that movie.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't think it mattered. I don't think it mattered in that movie. But that is a good movie. And by the way, that school that they're in is right by my old house in Tacoma.
Yeah, right.
That's Stadium High. It's insane. That school campus is absurd. It's like, what the fuck? Like, it's like I don't know. It's like a fancy British college that's like 500 years old with like church architecture and like sweeping buttresses and things. It's like, what?
Like it should have
This
been
is
a
a high school?
Yeah.
Huh?
Like it should have been a university, not a high school.
Yeah, yeah.
And what did they changed the name of it because of the Shakespearean reference? What was it called?
Damn it, Huawei is not using my advised link because they don't want to show they don't want to show for my memberships. Which, like, what do you want me to do? Like, go to work forever on not YouTube? I want to just make YouTube videos all week, you know?
You can promote Joel's memberships here.
They say they're not going to do it. No, it won't be a shill. They just can't do it.
Oh, GRB might. Yeah, I stumbled into your live stream. When was that? Yesterday morning, my time.
Uh-huh.
And there was a lovely, generous lady slinging memberships around for people. That was nice.
Yeah, I have
Tattoo Beauty.
I have the gifted memberships now, where you can gift memberships to other people. It's a new thing. They're copying Twitch.
Yeah, right.
I honestly, the gifted membership sort of reinvigorates the continue working on this YouTube thing. Honestly, from my viewpoint, it's like, hot damn, that's all right. It's
How are you, Z-Bane?
G'day.
What's going on? What are you doing?
Well, I got a tooth pulled out last Friday, so it's a bit still doesn't feel too good.
Doesn't feel good.
One of my favourite feelings on the planet is having a bad tooth taken out, because even all the pain after is so much better than the pain of a dodgy tooth.
The tooth wasn't in pain at all. It was just cracked, so they said they couldn't repair it, so they had to pull it. So yeah, the roots were pretty entrenched around my nerve. It was pretty yuck.
Yeah,
but glad I got a good guy to do it. He was
How much you pay for that?
See, we've got public health cover in Australia.
I know.
But does that cover
You
the
can get a
dentistry?
tooth pulled at the clinic for $50. I mean, you're away.
If you have no income, you have to prove that you have no income.
I just went to the hospital. They gave me a voucher, and then I took that voucher to the private dentist.
Yeah.
Went to one, and they looked at me and said, did some X-rays and said, I can't do this. I'm going to contact a guy, and he stayed back and sent me to some other more stronger dude, and he had to cut it in half and drill it, and then rip out the two pieces. Yeah.
Nice. G'day, Swampy. G'day, DD. Yeah.
Sorry, Sean. That's probably disturbing.
Just so you know, I feel like the American way is a little theory I like to call letter develop. oh, my tooth is broke. You can't fix it. Cool. It doesn't hurt. I'll be back in a few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna get bad. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
I gotta get into
I had to
that.
go. I had to go through that whole dental system for one of my cooks, who had like that dude just had like jacked up teeth, and yeah, we had to go through all this like crazy loopholes and stuff to get a couple of teeth pulled out, a couple of things fixed, and um, quality of life. His quality of life went way up. He's actually currently finishing a degree in some kind of crazy advanced mathematics or whatever now. So, sign of the times. You take a useless fry cook, and now he's finishing some kind of doctorate, master's degree. I don't know, some nonsense.
I would argue that a fry cook could be, in fact, more useful than some doctors with master's degrees.
How so?
Some of them are pretty useless.
What's that?
Some of them are pretty useless.
Which
Doctors.
ones? Jordan
How about
Peterson?
the guy that talked about how autism is from like regular shots. He was pretty lame.
Yeah, he was proven incorrect by other doctors.
Right, but he still goes with it. I guess 2 years ago he finally stopped, but then he popped back up going with it. So that guy, I wouldn't trust him.
No, I mean he was proven wrong. I mean he was proven wrong that was all nonsense. Like what 25 years ago. But the people that are continuing it on they formerly were the sort of naturopathic weirdo people. They're the people that like took the legacy of like, well, if you have cancer, just take extra turmeric and dandelion greens, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
the turmeric, and they're inflation is the cause of all disease, and you're like, but what is inflation? It's bad vibes. You need to straighten out your chakras by sunning your perineum. And you go like, what's your perineum? And they go, well, it's your butthole, and you're like, okay, well, if I get some sun on my butthole, will cure my cancer. Okay. Word, got it. Right. Sounds legit. Sounds legit. Those are the people that slowly rolled into carrying on the that you're going to get autism from getting vaccines. But there's always been the question that I've always had was, if you think that autism is so bad that you'd rather your child have smallpox
Or just die from
or
something
rubella,
completely preventable.
yeah, or die. Yeah, it's like you'd rather them just get sick with an easily preventable disease or possibly end up autistic with autism, right? It's like, which one do you think is worse? Like rubella, whooping cough, like tetanus because you just got tetanus because you didn't get the preventative shot for it. Like, oh, you got lockjaw and foamed at the mouth and then died. Like, okay.
Well, but the best part is 99% of the parents who pull that argument are all vaccinated. Because that's what our parents did. When vaccines became available, we all got vaccinated, like my grandparents and then my parents and then me. Like getting your kids vaccinated was always just the responsible, reasonable thing to do. And like short of like small groups of people, it was pretty standard practice. And so all of these parents, not all of them, most of the parents that are like, oh, I don't want my kid to get autism, are also vaccinated. Like,
but maybe they're autistic.
I wouldn't give
Possibly.
them that much credit.
They're autistic, so they think that by not giving their kids vaccines that they'll be saved from the big bag of autism.
Right. But it's it's one of those things where those people will point at medical science diagnosing autism in people, right? They'll use that evidence as their evidence that the vaccines that have been vetted by the exact same doctors are what's causing the autism. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, so you take these doctors' word that autism is being diagnosed. Okay. And then but they're getting the autism from the doctors that say these are two uncorrelated things. These things don't correlate with each other. You don't believe that part, but you believe the yet. So, but the funny thing is that the rates of autism are higher than they were historically, because here's a good example: 200 years ago, the amount of autistic cases we had was 0. So if you had one right now, technically it would be an increase over historical numbers, right? Because they weren't diagnosing it at all. We're just much better at diagnosing it now. And whether or not it's an extreme case or a manageable case or something that, something that could be dealt with behavioral stuff, or maybe it needs medical treatment, that kind of stuff. That's why I'm like, whatever the argument is just absurd, because you're cherry picking the evidence from these doctors who are all saying, no, we're coming to this conclusion because of this evidence, not just because of this one point that you've decided to draw a line over here, surpassing all of this other stuff. Like, it's just nonsense.
I don't know if I said hi to Swampy Acres and Only Oscars, and who else just came in? Sterlo.
Hi, Mark.
Mark. Sky Dancer, what's up, lady?
Oh my God, who are all these new people? Who's Mark and Oscar? Oh my God. So many
They're like
people.
OGs.
So many new people. Oh my God, Stephen P's here.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to invite myself
Stephen
over to
P.
Stephen P's house through Shanna coming this weekend, but she wouldn't take the bait.
Steven lives in Louisiana. So.
You live near the airport.
Mm-hmm. You're going to fly with him? You should buy a ticket.
I think he wanted to go in his carry-on.
I don't think Joel's that flexible.
Not with that attitude.
You don't think, do you? This is my knee right here.
That's not very flexible, bud.
Can you put it in your ear? G'day, Gaffer.
Yeah, I can do it.
What?
I'm super flexible. How do you think I have a daughter now? I'm surprised she didn't come storming in here. So what's going on? Are you guys watching anything new? I watched the Blonde movie. Have you seen that? The Marilyn Monroe biopic.
Nope.
Fuck, man.
It's good.
It's intense, dude. Don't. I mean, watch it because it's pretty well. It's long, and I thought it was really well done. But man, you're not gonna come out thinking like, "Wow, I really envy Marilyn Monroe's life. That I'm envious of that situation." No, you're not gonna come out feeling those vibes. You're gonna be like, "Jesus, what happened to that poor woman?"
It's going to make me ugly cry. I better watch this one at home.
You're gonna not be. It's not a lot of smiling going on in that biopic.
Emma put on the Elvis movie last night, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't want to watch this." So I sort of watched it, but I knew how it was going to end, and it's fucking ugly.
You know how it ends, right? That's why I still boycotted the Titanic. I still haven't seen that. My boycott stands strong.
Can I spoil it for you? The boat sinks.
The boat sank. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Who's that
What
guy
else?
from the guy from
Record.
Saturday Night Live? What's his name? Scarlett Johansson's husband, Colin Jost, the guy who did the evening update on Saturday Night Live. Him and Pete Davidson bought a Staten Island ferry And they named it Titanic too.
Oh, that's definitely going to sink at some point. Like we all see that coming, right?
Well, I was listening to an interview of him talking about it, and he was like, "It's gotten fairly interesting with the insurance people trying to get insurance for it." Like, oh, why they bought a Staten Island ferry? I can't. I don't know. I don't know why they did.
Because they could.
It's a license to
'Cause
print
they
money,
could.
surely.
I guess when you have like too much money, you can just do
Joke
some nonsense.
purchases.
I've gone and bought some dumb stuff with a paycheck before. Like, not like my whole paycheck or whatever, but when you get a little extra something, just buy something dumb that you wouldn't normally buy. It's like, yeah, I'm rich for a second. Okay, no, just kidding, Bills, but yeah.
We ended up last week getting sick of all these modern movies with the choppy ADHD fucking styles. So we looked up some old movies, and Emma was like, "Have you ever seen a Doris Day movie?" And I said, "No." So we watched something from I think it was aired a year or two before the moon landing, and it was all about called The Glass Bottom Boat, but it was about this futuristic tech millionaire back then, like an Elon Musk kind of character, and all these whiz bang gadgets that he had in his house, and it was fucking hilarious. It was really good. Afterwards, it felt great, watching this old timey shit. Really
Some of them
honest.
great. Old 40s and 50s movies.
Yeah.
Really into the cinema.
Good color, really good color, and the cheapness of the set designs and everything. They were acting really well. It wasn't distraction central. So I say gentlemen prefer blonde. So I think I'll watch that instead of the Marilyn Monroe biopic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen Gentlemen Prefer Blondes?
No.
Oh.
I believe
I
it
won't
was
spoil
written
it for
by
you.
Anita Luz.
But I don't think there's a boat in it that sinks. I don't remember that.
It's good.
I started watching Eastbound and Down again. It's a very, very difficult show to watch, but it's worth it.
It's such a ridiculous show. It's like the level of arrogance is like gotta been like so hard to just like, okay, what's the most ridiculous answer to what has happened? You know what I mean? Like, because anytime he's confronted with something, it's just like, what the fuck? You're just going headlong into it. Got it. Okay. Yep. All right.
G'day, Byron.
Yes, Byron, that's Predaking in the background.
There is a sinking boat. There is a sinking vessel in Eastbound and Down, though.
There is. That's right.
Unicron's over there.
Very funny show, but very, very difficult.
Is it hard for you to watch that show? Is it
just because I mean, I say that, but I still watch 4 or 5 episodes on the trot. So, it's just going back to it at the start. You've got to put yourself in that mindset. You've got to push through. Because, it is. He's just such an awkward character. And how would you deal with someone like that in real life without some form of violence?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, that's sick.
Is
he a Transformer or is he a Voltron?
He's a Transformer. There's 5 animals and they all separate and they become robots themselves and all link together. Yeah. And I got the sword 3D printed because it didn't come with a sword. And this one has a matrix. So it's got a primal matrix like Optimus Prime. Pretty cool.
Hmm.
As a Christmas present to myself a few years ago. And I'm shocked at how expensive they are now in the box. I'm like, damn, should have got two. Get one
Oh
away.
yeah. How much are they now?
Well, last time I checked, I saw one on eBay probably for a, whale hunting price, but it was around 500 US, which is doubled in value in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of times I've thought with Star Wars Lego stuff, I should have bought two of that and left one in the box.
Yeah.
Ben just turned 16 this year, and we finally got rid of all the Legos, and it was just brutal because those like bazillion dollars worth of Legos ended up in one giant Tupperware box with a whole bunch of instruction books, and I'm like, oh. But it was so much fun because we'd always buy the new sets and then sit down and do them together. So it was like, kind of expensive bonding time, but it was solid bonding.
My grandmother, like when I grew out of mine, I gave it to my cousins, and then my other cousins got it to play with, and they added it. And as the eldest of my generation, once I got a certain age, my nan said, Josh, all that Lego, there's probably some stuff missing, but there's some stuff added. Do you want it back? I said, okay. And it was filthy, so I cleaned it and got stuck into building some sculptures, looked up online some of the styles and stuff that people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I blame her. I easily spent another $1,000
just to top the collection back up.
Yep.
They came out with so much cool shit, like castle stuff with like skeletons and orcs and ogres and dragons and shit. I'm like, this is so much better than the stuff I had when I was a kid. So
right, when I was a kid, there was like, when the girl Lego box came out, it was so dope, and all it was a little house. Like a stupid little house with purple roof that took about 3 minutes to put together. I was like,
Yeah.
Now it's much better.
Yeah, they got little dolls, the hair pieces.
And it's called Lego Friends now, isn't it? That's the one targeted at the lasses.
Yeah, I got a few. I got a queen and a princess for my castle. Like, I've lashed out and got some pretty nice pieces. My rarest bit of Lego is the headdress from the evil character out of Temple of Doom.
Molaram.
Yeah, I just wanted his headdress, and I found it as a single on Bricklink, and I think I paid like $30 for it. But that single headpiece is probably $60 now. I don't know. Cool orc. It really matched an orc better than I didn't care for fleshy toned.
Do you reckon that's a piece that you could go on the Lego website and cite as a missing piece and to see if they'd send it out to you for free?
Oh no. Oh no, Lego would be onto that.
Yes, I imagine that. I mean, they were pretty rapid with getting me out missing pieces in the past, but yeah, something like that fetches a high price. I reckon they'd be asking a few more questions. Oh, sorry, we don't stock that anymore.
Byron Lumley, I'm not planning on dying, dude, anytime soon. So, yeah. The Transformers will. I don't know. There's a lot in the rest of the house. These are just my office ones.
There is. I think you've got Transformers in every bloody room of your house, don't you? It's quite the collection.
It's just in the lounge room. I mean, like where my music equipment is, and out here now. So I cleaned up the rest of the house.
I don't get the Orson Welles reference.
He did the voice for Unicron.
Ah, right.
Yeah. 86 movie.
The other thing that was a huge hit that now I'm like, he still hasn't let go of, and I'm not sure what is going to happen with, is the Nerf guns. A
Yeah,
whole arsenal of Nerf
yeah,
guns.
yeah. There's nothing more fun than hippie friends coming over with their young kids and me going, here's some empty bottles with rocks in the bottom to target shoot, and seeing which hippie kid is actually really good at shooting.
Yeah.
One girl came over, she's only like 4, and she just instinctively laid down on the ground and had the rifle on the ground level, lining it up, and I'm like, damn, she's got some skills. No one taught her that.
She's a natural.
She's natural, yeah.
The parents sitting in the background shaking their heads or cowering away, not wanting anyone to know that they let their kids watch Vietnam movies. Oh, who wants to say something cool?
Hmm?
I want to show people something cool that I recorded
I want to
yesterday,
see it.
if I can find it. Pause that. Come back here, share a screen. Where is share the screen gone? It's called present now. Am I sharing? I am sharing. Do a bit of that one and a bit of that one. Check these guys out.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Is that 2 snakes or 3 snakes?
Two, just two. I have a feeling I may have interrupted sexy time.
Oh, you dirty bugger. You should have known from the Barry White plane.
Note the large bulge at the front of the screen on the wire. It's had a decent feed recently.
No kidding.
Are they just going up into your roof?
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Those are giant nightmare noodles. They were fine on the outside, not really, but like, holy cow.
One of those is about 2.5 meters long, and the other one's about 2.7 meters long. And both very large snakes.
Pythons.
What's that? 2.5 meters is 8 foot and a bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very large snake. Just going into your house.
They're friendly as.
Yeah, they mellow down quite quickly if you handle them appropriately.
Did they ever like try and cuddle?
To a human,
Yeah.
yeah, they like your body temperature. So once they cool down and relax and know you're not a threat, they'll find a nice, comfy position on your body. And this one was. I interrupted this guy as well. This guy's been pretty passive of late. Actually, no, I think this is the bigger one. There's no big lump in its guts. This one's very flighty. Tends to run away as soon as anyone sees it.
Where's he going in there?
It's a birdhouse, right?
Yeah, a breeding box.
For birds.
Yeah. But then we used to have eastern rosellas breeding in there quite often. But needless to say, now that place is occupied by snakes, the birds aren't there so often.
Yeah.
What up, Kenny?
Seems like birds don't like to hang out where snakes are.
Yeah, mortal enemies and all that.
Yeah.
This is the larger of the two when my son first caught it. That's a great quality photo, isn't it?
That's good.
Beautiful creature.
That's sick.
Oops, wrong way. Massive.
Look at that head patterning. That's rad. Very distinctive. Having a lie down with a snake. That's the way.
Yeah. I mean, we're both laying on the grass with a, almost 3 meter snake between us, and it wasn't aggressive at all. It was just checking us out, making sure it was safe, and it was completely safe. Down there, do a bit of that.
Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine. That is great.
I guess it's because you haven't grown up with them. G'day, Kenny, Ballspace. How are you, lads?
Hey, guys.
When was it? Was it yesterday? No, day before, on Monday. My son that you just saw in the pictures with the snake was out the back, and we identified a small-eyed snake, which he proceeded to catch. He caught it before we identified it, but he's very, very capable with handling venomous snakes.
Mm-hmm.
And the small-eyed snake, even though it's only about a 50-centimetre snake, is in our top 10 most venomous snakes in the country.
Well,
I think Australia has 9 of the top 11 most venomous snakes on the planet. I think that's the numbers they've come to nowadays. Yeah, Ballspace. Josh has Sue in his collection. Oh, the small-eyed, yeah, he did too. He put pictures of that up. They got a really interesting looking head. They're not a cute snake, that's for sure. But yeah, nice and dark grey with pinky underside. They often get mistaken for red-bellied black snakes, but their belly's not as bright red as the red-bellied blacks. But still, oh yeah, it was about to shed its skin too. Very blue eyes and flaky bits on its skin and whatnot. Beautiful, beautiful. It's that time of year where we get our snakes. And I think already this year we've had more than last year. Last year was pretty low on for snakes. You might not have a chance, Kenny. You'll have to see some. What's your plans for your travels, Kenny? What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you seeing? Go to Australia Zoo. You can see lots of awesome snakes there, and they're all behind bars, so you don't have to worry about stepping on them.
They're just like out in the grass, so if you go tromping around, you could just step on a snake.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know where you're looking, you can do that any day of the week here. Thankfully, those incredibly venomous small-eyed snakes are nocturnal. So, they only pose a threat to walk around in the night in bare feet.
Well, you're just begging for it then.
Well, that's what I do. I rarely have shoes on now that it's warming up.
I'm glad we don't have snakes.
You don't have any in your state, I suppose.
No, we have some, but none that are walking around running around out in the grass. Like just garter snakes.
Garter snakes, yeah, right. Because they can go into their deep crevices in the wintertime and ball up and hibernate, sleep for a few months. Then come out in billions. G'day, George. Yes, that's a very good point, Ball Space, that our kids down here are heavily educated on what to do around snakes these days. Not so
That's
much when I was at school, but nowadays, with heavy fines for killing snakes and stuff, killing snakes is never a solution. You learn how to deal with them instead, and most of the time it's back up or stay still, walk away. All a snake wants to do is get away from you. Give it the chance.
Hi, George. Oregon does have rattlesnakes. That's true, but I've never even seen one. Never heard one. Well, in Nebraska, I heard them, but I've never seen or heard one here.
I've seen some in Oregon. I've seen them in Washington for sure. Seen some in California, and let's see, I saw 2 in Nevada when I was down there once. But I've seen ball pythons that weren't supposed to be outside, bull snakes. I don't know. I've seen a few. Not a lot though. I normally just I'm gonna leave that guy alone. I don't have that huge desire to handle a snake.
Feels so good.
It's a lovely experience.
Well, I do enough of that at home already.
If only my soundboard was still working, I would have.
What happened to your soundboard?
Just keeps on. Every time I load all of my sounds into it, it just freaks out and loses them after a couple of weeks. So I just gave up. I'll try and get one on the PC instead of on my phone.
It makes sense. I was using some shareware for my little soundboard here. It's right here, still plugged in.
You've got an actual physical one.
Yeah,
That's
and
how the pros do it.
I couldn't to stay stable with some shareware goofy program I was using. So I'm just waiting until I got to update my video editing, so then I could buy what is it, SoundForge, I believe. I'm gonna buy a new license for it. But I know when I update my when I have to purchase my video editing software, you get a full license of SoundForge when I do that. So I'll just do that.
I don't think I was Ball Space. When did that happen? Last red belly I saw, I accidentally ran over, and I was so cranky at myself. It was terrible. I hate running over snakes.
Did you run over a snake?
Yeah, going back probably 12 months. There's one on a road, and it was in road work, so all the traffic was, bumper to bumper almost.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling very slow, and the car in front of me has just missed this red belly, but the red belly, instead of going away from the middle of the road, went into the center of the road and straight under one of my wheels.
Yeah. The snakes don't eat the cane toads, do they?
There's a couple that can eat them. One really, called a freshwater snake or a keelback, that predates on tadpoles and small frogs, and they are immune to cane toad venom for some reason. So they're a good one to have around, and they're non-venomous. Problem with those guys is that they look like another snake called a rough scale snake, which is highly venomous, I think also in our top 10. But almost identical looking snakes, slight difference in head shape. But apart from that, it's very difficult to tell them apart.
Oh. Oh yeah, they can eat. Those guys can eat cane toads. Look at that. There's one eating one. But what do they look like?
just brown and black.
No, I mean,
Mottled.
what's the other snake that they look like?
A rough scale or a marsh snake. I think they're the marsh snake might even be the keelback.
Wow.
Rough-scaled bush viper?
No, that's not an Australian one.
Just a rough-scaled snake. Rough-scaled python or rough-scaled snake? Let's see.
Look up marsh snake instead.
Yeah, highly venomous Australian. It's the Tropidicus carinatus. I don't know.
Try
Yeah,
Hemiaspis signata.
I guess if they're like the what?
Hemiapsis signata,
For what?
the marsh snake.
Oh. Well, I'm looking at the rough-scaled snake right now. It says highly venomous Australian. And it does look a lot like the one that eats the cane toads. The checkered keelback? Or just the regular keelback? I guess they look like the regular keelback. I guess the checkered keelback's got a different vibe to it. Oh, yeah, look at that guy. Can't confuse those two. They have different eyes. But I guess if you think you got the rough-scaled snake and it's going to bite you or whatever, maybe you karate chop it with a machete or something.
No, I don't. Just
No?
accept your fate. Accept your fate and deal with it.
Just accept your death. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's the Rabidophis subminiatus. How do you say that? Subminiatus. It's kind of
Which
cool
one's that
snake.
one?
That's the one you were talking about, the marsh snake. That one's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that looks more like the keelback.
No, that one looks different. I don't know. Well, either way, there's a green keelback. You guys need to import those ones. Then people won't mix them up.
Yeah, that's always the answer.
Yeah. You get more of these guys to eat the cane toads, but these ones are green, so you can't mix them up, right?
They'd be a good one to try and breed up.
Yeah,
Sell
you breed them up,
farms.
eat those cane toads. You don't like the cane toads, do you?
No.
No.
Yeah.
But I still don't kill them.
Why not?
I put them in my green waste bin. I give them a chance. So if they get out to the rubbish where they pile up all the green waste to compost it down, if they survive the heat of the compost pile and get out alive, then they deserve another chance. But yeah, lots of people will just either put a pitchfork through their head or bag them up and put them in the freezer. Freezer sounds like a terrible way to die, though.
Oh, the cane toads?
Yeah.
I think I'd rather freeze to death than slowly be cooked to death.
Yeah, that's true, because you'd go to sleep before your body started freezing and whatnot. Whereas you're not really going to be relaxed enough in the boiling water
No.
to be able to go unconscious before the terrible amounts of pain begin.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out scrub pythons while you're Googling up snakes, Joel. Ballspace saying he ran over one once and he thought it was a log falling across the road because they get so big.
Oh my gosh.
One of Australia's biggest snakes. Because it's got a big heavy body, but the Owen Pelly python and the olive python are known to get longer than the amethystine python or scrub python.
But these guys get like bigger.
The scrub pythons are more bulky, whereas the olive python and the Owen Pelly Yeah, they get longer, but not as chunk as the scrub pythons.
So the scrub python could like eat me, and the other ones would just squeeze me to death.
Don't think they get big enough to eat people, but all three of them could definitely kill a person. No worries at all. Very
I don't
big,
want to be
very
squeezed to
heavy.
death either.
Mm.
That sounds bad.
It's just like the best hug you've ever had.
No, like the worst hug ever. It's the hug of death. It's the final hug.
The final hug.
Here you go, Blackie.
At that size ball space, it probably didn't even notice your cargo over it. Probably thought a fly landed on it. What are we hearing? Am I going for?
It'd be the last hug you'll ever have.
It's on YouTube, so you won't be banned or nothing.
What is? Oh, is
The
there a
clip
link?
I posted in the chat.
Right.
The greatest Australian hero.
You must mean Steve Irwin.
Side front wheel.
I've seen that dude before. He's quality. I'll line him up.
It's the hero you deserve.
Ooh, nobody wants that. No.
I guarantee he pronounces the word toilet.
Poorly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our redneck version. Like you guys have turlet.
It's true.
Oh, yeah, I saw you hold that up before, Beast. What is it? It has an aeroplane.
It's a
star screen.
Mega Hornet. 11%er. It's wailing me.
Wailing you.
He's wiling out.
I'm wailing out.
You got to back the troops, man. You got to back the troops. Hey, have you guys ever watched? Have you ever watched Band of Brothers? The HBO.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
I ugly cry multiple times.
You ugly cry.
Yeah, a Band of Brothers. Yeah, that was tough to get through.
I think that's my second favorite war drama ever. The other one being Generation Kill, set in the Middle East, Iraq War, I think.
Yeah, Generation Kill is actually like a really good. It's really good representation.
Yeah.
The other brutal one, Black Hawk Down.
Oh yeah, great movie.
Cool.
Good video too.
Yeah, I think there was some. Over dramatization in Black Hawk Down, though.
A little poetic license, you reckon?
Yeah. Whereas
God,
I think
hope so.
I think Generation Kill is like a really good exhibit of what it's like in the current military structure. You know, maybe a little out of date because it's not exactly contemporary, but you know. When did that come out? Like 10 years ago?
Generation Kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably would have been early teens. So I think Band of Brothers is.
Oh my God, we're old. We're older than we think. It was 2008. So yeah.
And was Band of Brothers after that? I think it was.
I think Band of Brothers. Was,
I feel like
maybe
it was before.
Yeah, it might have been before or right around. When was Band of Brothers? Because the Pacific one was after.
Out of like all of the big war movies I saw, I feel like that was the first one that really wrecked me.
Oh, I guess it says it's 2001, so I guess it's 20 years old. That's wild, man. It's wild to think because I've been listening to some of the documentaries while working, There's some real like inaccuracies in the Band of Brothers that are a super mystery to me. I just don't understand why they changed it. Like the one that really stands out to me is the part where, if you remember at the end, where Major Winters is accepting the surrender from the like SS general that came in, that super Nazi guy who does the speech to his troops and stuff. The general goes to give him his service pistol, right? And in the show, Major Winters tells him like no, and he tells him he can keep it, which is bizarre to me because in real life, Major Winters took the gun from him, accepted it as his surrender, and then in his own words, he says one of the weird things about it, he goes, this is how he feels that a war should have happened, just a face-to-face, no one died, because the gun that he got from that general had never been fired. Like the rifling on the barrel and everything was unmarred. It had never been shot.
See you, BZ.
And then he was like, I've had this pistol with me my entire life. It's never been fired and it never will be fired. And it's like, I don't know why they changed it in the show where they're like, no, just keep your gun, super crazed Nazi guy. Like, what? No, give me that gun. You don't need, no guns for you, sir. No more guns. No respect. Like, I don't know. I don't think that like Major Winters was disrespectful to the guy at the time. I don't think there's any evidence or any story of him being disrespectful to him, but I can't imagine it have gone down where it's like, oh, you can just keep your gun because we're gonna make you guys are like humans, it's all good. Whereas like the privates in the German military were probably just some dudes, right? But that guy was like clearly in the know, super general guy, right? Like he knew what was going on. Like I don't know. I can't imagine a world where you don't pistol whip that guy with his own gun. I don't. After seeing the concentration camps and stuff, like I don't I can't imagine. I don't know. That's probably why I would never be a major in the military, because I'd probably pistol whip a Nazi or something. But that was 100 or 80 years ago. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, long time ago. Tragedy plus time equals comedy and all that.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those weird inaccuracies in the show that I find to be like, why didn't you just put the actual thing that happened? Because the actual thing that happened seems more impactful to me. I don't know. And they had the guy, like Major Winters was alive and like helped them with the show. So you could have just asked him like, hey, how'd that go down? Did it go down like this? No? Oh, it went down like that. Oh, okay. You still have the gun. Okay. I don't know.
Oh, I just got to go and put my casserole in the slow cooker. I'll be back in a sec.
Nope, he's got to poop. He's leaving. He's been farting so much. It's the precursor. Now we know.
It's boom boom time.
You can see him in the reflection of his aquarium. See that? Spying in the reflection. I was going to look at the chat, but like it's just a posting a bunch of YouTube channels. Should we go to those YouTube channels? Where's Replay Team 6? Are they still here?
I think they are.
Replay Team 6 is in the future.
It's like Australia.
It's like Australia in the future.
I'm in the future now.
Yeah.
All over the interwebs. Worldwide.
Here he comes. I see him.
Uh-oh.
My grandfather was in World War II. He was in Finland defending against Russian invasion.
Mhm.
I'll let you guess the rest. He didn't come to Australia with his pistol though.
No.
But he got the fuck out of Germany.
Yeah, both of my grandfathers were in World War II.
Yeah.
One of my grandfathers was a captain bombardier in the Pacific, and my other grandfather was a Navy shipman. I forget his during the war. I think he was a petty officer, and then after the war, he was a chief petty officer, and then I forget what his final lieutenant commander or something. I forget. Lieutenant. What is it? Lieutenant captain. The guy under the captain of whatever naval boat he was on, which is a total clusterfuck to me because a lot of my family was in the Navy, and there's a whole lot of talk about ships, and I was never on any of them, so I can't. I'm like, oh, the Kitty Hawk. Yes, that's a boat. Yep. Word.
I thought it was
it gray? Was it gray? I believe it must have been gray. Yeah, because they're all battleship gray, right? Yeah.
It seems silly that all of the different armed forces have different ranks. Why can't they just have the same?
Because they evolved different, and they're different things going on. They do different stuff. You know, the Navy guys drive around the Marines. The Air Force flies around the Army. You know, the Coast guys, they wear women's underwear, I hear.
They save people, especially off our coastline.
I had an old drinking buddy who was a coastie for his whole career. And his joke was always that, well, you know, since I'm wearing my ladies' underwear, I'm ready to go.
I can't remember the name of that guy who got caught for that. I don't remember he was in the Coast Guard, but he was in the military. He was like a serial killer, and then like some mucky muck in the military, and then it just came out just wads and wads of photos of him in all his girly underwear, which turned out were like victims. So it was like one of those yikes kind of scenarios.
I'm aware what the Coast Guard does, but yeah. The most interesting thing that the Coast Guard does is they take NOAA, the National Oceanographic guys. They take them around and bust up icebergs. They go busting ice, go up into the Arctic, and take readings of the water or whatever they do. I'm not sure what they're doing up there. Science. GRB says that's the FBI. It could be.
Replay Team 6 is FBI. All the intelligence agencies are making sure we're not screwing with their shit.
Not toileting the military too much.
That's sort of like, FBI, we can see you. We see you, Agent Johnson. We see you. Quit watching.
Hello.
Hi.
Listen here, Agent Johnson. If you're going to watch, you better subscribe and hit the like button, you bum.
Yeah, like button is important.
It's very important. My God, the like button. It's been very ever since it was invented. It's been very important. It's a fact, you know.
If you want to feel
smash
important, push that.
You gotta smash it.
Just squish it. Just squish right. Just rub up on it.
I wonder how many mouses around the world have been broken from smashing like buttons.
It's not a zero number, I'll tell you that.
Betcha. Especially people with touch screens who try and throw their mouse across the room to hit it. Smash your mouse with the like button.
Oh, that's true, Huawei. That's why every few minutes we need to say allegedly. That's right. Allegedly. Allegedly. That's right. It's all allegedly. This is a comedy show. You listed under comedy, right?
Comedic license.
You listed under comedy or entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yeah.
educational.
No, is it?
Education.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think education is, one of those usages when you can say stuff out of order and not be accurate with your facts and stuff. That classes as education, doesn't it?
Does
Yeah.
it? I don't know.
Fairly certain that's what education is.
Oh, okay. Huawei's shilling for my memberships. Okay, good. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I
Get
did
it out
notice
there. Make
it
some
finally-
TikToks. Make some TikToks. Post my link in there. Yeah. Send people over. Can you watch Blackie on YouTube, kids? I wonder if you can or not. I don't think you can.
No,
You
I
didn't
think
do the intent. You don't do the intended for kids, right?
no, I think I set my whole channel to not for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah.
I took the allegedly sensible route back in the day when we had to do all that stuff, when it all
Yeah.
changed. So long ago now.
The dog laying next to me is snoring with her tongue hanging out of her mouth. And I'm kind of jealous. I'm like, yo, that looks like the good life. Although, for all I know, when I sleep, I snore with my tongue hanging out of my mouth too. So maybe I'm just like identifying.
Kindred spirit.
It's true. You probably do.
And I learned it from watching you.
You watch me when I sleep?
Don't
No,
we all?
Oh,
that would be creepy. It also wouldn't be a joke if I actually did it. It'd be a crime.
it's just. Is it a crime?
Well, she
I don't
didn't
think
ask
it's a
for me.
crime to watch me while I sleep. Although, to bring back the snake talk, you better watch out. If you
Isn't
watch
that
me
kind
while
of
I'm
like
sleeping.
stalkerish?
I guess. Yeah. I
Ish.
mean, is it a crime? Well, it depends on how you're watching. I mean, I guess if you broke into my house and you're in my room,
I'm just standing
Good.
beside your bed staring.
that's against the law. But I think if I like left the window open and you were just looking from a long ways away, I think that's technically legal, right?
That's voyeurism.
I think if you can see it from public space, though, I think that counts, right?
Yeah, I think you're good then.
Yeah.
So
If you're like-
public pictures.
Well, because if you're like standing in the street and you look over and my window's open and I got my bird out, right? And you're like, look at that guy's dong, you know? And you're like, you're not breaking the law. You just saw in the window, right?
I would stand there staring too, at least for a couple beats. I'd be like, wait, what? Just like walking down the street and you're walking along, you look over and you see a dilly sticking out. I'd be like, is that a penis?
It's like it's
I
magnetic.
think it is.
How can you look away?
I mean, I'm not saying you don't take a look. Now, it's the actions you take after just seeing a random wiener that would be either concerning or not, really, you know.
I'd probably just keep walking. Eventually, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that was definitely a wiener. Interesting. I'm going to have to talk to somebody about this. Probably everybody I know. I'm going to be like, yo, I was walking down the street. I saw a wiener.
Yeah. Just a rando ween.
Yeah, I imagine it where it's like also cut off so that there's no face. Because, like, you don't want to see their face. Like, because then what if you make eye contact and they see you standing in the street staring at them, staring at you? Like, whoa, no.
That'd
No.
be a weird
Also,
moment.
that might be how dirty movies start. I don't know.
Jimmy P coming in with a perler. G'day, Jimmy.
That bird ain't gonna be seen from the street, bro. Well, you don't know.
How
Maybe
far
with
is the
proper
street?
lighting?
How far is the street away?
I mean, let's say like 12 feet.
You could see my wiener from 12 feet away.
I feel like I could see a wiener from a considerable distance.
You tuned into it.
Yeah.
Get tuned in.
Yeah. I'm like, I got dick dar. I'm like, wait, wait.
There's a
I feel
disturbance in the force. You go like
There
full,
is.
you go full Jedi. Like there's a disturbance.
Where is it?
I sense a dysphallus in the force. Wild. It's funny how we always get onto some rude topic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's generally where it's going.
Start with men wearing ladies' knickers and then we work our way to penises.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good, thanks, Jimmy. Well, even. Except for my constant huffing of that stuff out of my sinuses, which I normally
Yeah,
mute. Have to
Yeah, you
pop it
probably
in
got
there.
forest fires going on around there, probably. Oh no, you're
No.
just like smoking cigs all the time, so that'll do it.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's correct, Huawei. I think there's some sort of penis out there, and then I start getting text messages. We went from literal to figurative, all in one. Both accurate.
Is she not concerned with those speed trap alerts? She wants those penis trap alerts.
Yeah. Be like, danger.
Danger.
Stay away from this street. There are currently 3 exposed penises on it.
Right? I'm like, I can't handle that kind of pressure. It's too much.
That would be too much pressure. I mean, what are you going to do?
Avoided it entirely.
It's
Yeah.
trying to keep people away, but Shanna still magnetates towards it or gravitates towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Magnetates. I think I made up a word.
Yeah, we don't understand gravity, but we know.
What's the thing?
Penis limit.
I mean, I have like a 0 penis limit right now. I'm like, meh, no penises. Suppose, like, anything could change. I could get like sister husbands, brother husbands. I don't know.
Sauce.
Doesn't that seem like a nightmare though? Like having multiple spouses? Isn't one enough? Isn't that enough work? Enough compromise? Like, one's plenty.
Yeah, one dick's enough, but the more women, the merrier. Especially when they like each other. That's great because they can all talk.
Yeah,
And
I
the
don't
guy
feel
can
like
do
that
their own
works
thing.
well.
That's fantastic.
I assume that means that M's out of earshot.
Oh, she knows. She knows.
Well, that's good. That's the ball in your court then, lad.
Exactly. Yeah.
And all she's got to do is like them.
Yeah. Actually, I caught Emma in bed the other night and I had to take a picture of her with a phone so she could wake up in the morning and discover it. She'd fallen asleep with a vape in her hand, like a little vape going, so cute. I had to get the photo. Just clutching onto it for dear life. Hilarious.
I don't know that I've ever fallen asleep with my vape. I don't think I have, but I've definitely fallen asleep with my phone.
Yeah, right.
Just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
So I took a delivery from Amazon this morning.
Oh, yeah. What you get?
Well, standard stuff.
liquor.
Oh, nice.
I got possibly the last 3 bottles on the planet of the old strength wild turkey.
Oh, cool.
There was only 3 left in the Amazon store. But I'm definitely going to keep my eyes out for more.
Yeah.
I reckon I keep 2 or 3 of them sealed. And, maybe in 10 years' time I'll be able to sell them for a couple of $100 because they're the old ones.
What is it, 43%?
43.4.
43.4. Okay.
Now they've gone down to 40.5.
Right.
Which, you know, has its benefits, I suppose. I'm not going to bed maggot every night that I drink wild turkey,
Yep.
which means waking up a little bit nicer the next day.
Yep.
Or you could just drink more.
Shanna, I'm trying to not do that at the moment. I'm trying to behave myself and be a better person.
I just feel like if they took my booze and decreased the amount of alcohol in it, I would have just ended up drinking more.
Doing triples instead of doubles.
I'm like, okay, triples it is. Doubles are out the window.
Yeah. Kind of ruins us here in Australia because they won't give you a double shot anywhere. And if I want to drink whiskey, I want at least a double shot with just a splash of mixer, and it's just like, no, they won't do it. So private clubs is the future, I think.
I had this whole little scam for going to the bar. It wasn't really a scam. It was kind of a scam. So I always drink whiskey neat. And so I would, as opposed to a shot of whiskey, because when you get a shot of whiskey, they give it to you in a shot glass. When they give you whiskey neat, they would pour it in a rocks glass. And every bartender that I would go to would pour a shot, see it, and then pour some more.
Yeah.
And so I was always like, yes, extra booze, because it doesn't look like it's enough in the rocks glass.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm not sure if it's all states of this country, but they changed our liquor laws that if you order a drink neat, you can't have just a shot. They have to put a minimum of 1 ice cube in it. So if you order tequila shots, the first order of business is to take your ice cube out of the neat glass, because they won't even serve stuff in shot glasses anymore.
That's got to be online.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's in New South Wales. And they won't give you repeat orders too. They'll say, I'll do you one, but don't come back for another one. Don't
Do
get
they?
stuck. Yeah.
Fascism.
It is.
You only get one drink at a bar?
If you're drinking neat, they don't want repeat service. They're like, no, we don't want to have this person set up camp and drinking spirits neat at our bar. Usually leads
Isn't that what a bar is for?
Not Australia. No.
Wow.
No.
Interesting.
The problem is you're not going there to get fucked up.
Bars can get in a lot of trouble if someone drives home from a bar drunk and they crash. The bar can lose their license for it because they weren't promoting the responsible drinking of alcohol.
Well, they say that about people when you get DUIs here. Like, one of the first things they always ask is, where were you drinking? And like the bar will get in trouble. But I don't think bars ever actually do. And like here or over in Oregon, when I was still drinking, like they wouldn't even cut you off. Like they would just pour liquor for you until closing time.
That's how you run a business.
They made tons of money that way for sure.
Yeah, but that's why they when they were changing all of these drinking laws, that's why they started hammering the venues as well, so that the venues became responsible for making sure people were doing the right thing. And it's not only the venue as well, that you can, as a responsible server of alcohol, you can get in trouble too. The venue will get a much bigger fine, but the individual who didn't cut someone off will also get fined and demerit points off their license, if you will. Things like demerits.
I like my beers strong, and we got a brewery in the industrial estate called Wandana, and they made a beautiful imperial stout. So it was like 11%, but they'd only serve it in little pony glasses, like 200 ml glasses. I'm like, you bastards, I want a pint of this shit. This is good. And I explained to the guy, if I got a pint of this, I'm going to sit on it and sip it for ages. But by you serving it to me in a little glass, I just go neck it, and now I want another one.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's so dumb.
But how
they
is their
think
stout?
they're doing the right
Is it
thing,
good?
but it's not the right thing at all. It's fucking making false scarcity. And
Is it a good stout though?
it was delicious. Fucking delicious. It was only a pilot batch, so they only did one keg of it just to test it out, and it was very successful.
Yeah, I don't mind a good stout.
And we did trivia that night. They had their first trivia competition, and there was 3 of us, and we fucking killed it. So I won a case of beer, which was only 16 cans, because they're 4-packs instead of 6-packs. And I was like, okay, cool. I win a case. That's fantastic. Get them home. Oh, they're mid-strength. They're only 3.5%. But anyway,
That's funny.
free beer.
Funny you mentioned trivia nights. My guy who delivers my Amazon parcels, he used to host the trivia night at the Middle Pub. And I hit him up this morning and said, "Are they still doing trivia night at the Middle? Do you still host it?" And he said, "No, they haven't done it since the pandemic and stuff. And they've only just recently started talking about putting it back on again." Because I've got a hankering to go and do trivia nights again.
Okay. The Wandana thing's on a Thursday afternoon. So maybe you can join in on that.
Are they doing regular trivias on that day, are they?
They are, yeah. Yeah,
Might have to bum my way into your team.
for sure. There's no entry fee too, and they give away free beer because they make beer, which is pretty good. Yeah.
I remember in Brisbane, I was playing in a trivia team at the Lord Stanley Hotel, and there was a couple of dudes on the trivia team that I wasn't getting along with so well. So one night I went along and played on my own solo man team. Third. I got third for the night. There was like
Nice.
10 or 11 teams playing.
Nice.
And then, the following week I had I guess because of my outstanding solo performance, I had some other friends that wanted to come and join my team then, so we formed a new team. And probably never got higher than third after that. Those were the days.
All right, gentlemen. I must bid you farewell for the evening.
Hello, Shanna. Thanks heaps for hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
good to see you.
No worries.
Good
You
to
take
see
care
you
now.
all.
Bye.
See you
Stemper.
when I'm looking at you.
Time for me to go also.
Righty ho.
All right, boys.
Silly, this daylight savings nonsense. When does yours change?
Well, let me check.
Couple of weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. I think there's usually a couple of weeks of this one time slot, and then I have to change again when you change.
November 6th.
Not far off.
A month yet.
Yeah, it's a month. Then we fall back an hour. So, like when you went live today, whatever time you went live at, it was 8 p.m. here.
Which was that's normally the same time for you that we start.
We normally start at like 7 my time, so an hour
Yeah.
earlier. Either one works for me. I just have to go to bed at around 10 o'clock, which it's like a couple minutes to 10 now. So you know how it is.
Yeah, well, when yours
start-
changes,
Yeah,
I
when
put it-
mine changes, it'll be 7, and then
but I go forwards an hour. When America's changed daylight savings time, I go forward again an hour. So I'm starting 3 p.m. my time. So
no.
I'm not sure
Did you
whether
just did you just do daylight savings time?
Yeah, Sunday changed for us.
Yeah, so you sprung forward an hour, right?
So that's what
Yeah.
I did today. I started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon instead of 1 o'clock. And then when you change, then I'll be starting at 3 o'clock, I believe. I think that's how it used to work last year.
But I think wouldn't you just start at 2 o'clock? I don't know. Your time, like at the same time, 2 o'clock, or no?
I don't know. We'll have to. I always get confused as fuck by it. So yeah, we'll have
Is
to
2
work it
o'clock?
out.
Well, we can work it out right now because, like, is 2 o'clock a good time for you to start?
Yeah, I mean it's better for me because when I was starting at 12 o'clock midday, it's not a pleasant time of day to start drinking when you've got responsibilities and stuff.
Yeah, when you've got things to do during the day.
Yeah, the later I can push it, the better. So once I'm starting again at 3 p.m., it makes me seem like a more functional member of society.
Right.
But yeah, as soon as we can just ban daylight savings all around, daylight saving, and being really, really conscious to drop that S off the end because it doesn't belong there. If we can all just abandon it and drop it, it'd be great. No worries. But, you know, we can't have people all around the country with their faded curtains, can we?
Yeah, I don't know what it is because, like, right now, like the daylight has already shifted to the point where, like, it's dark for at least an hour when I'm at work, right? So I get there at like, I don't know, 5:40 or whatever, and it's just pitch black out, and it doesn't get light until like going on 6:37, 6:45, something like that. So I guess if we fall back an hour, that means it would get light out at like 5:45, right?
Sounds accurate.
Yeah.
As
know.
good as my understanding of the time
I think, is that how that works? Like if it's getting light out at 6:45 and we reverse 1 hour, that means it would be getting light out at 5:45. Yeah. Okay.
When you put it like that, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. I don't know. But yeah, so then there'll be a while where it's like getting light out early. But I don't know exactly like what it's for now. You know, I don't know why we continue to do it now. I don't know.
It was introduced after World War II, I think, something to do with soldiers and nonsense.
No, it's before that. It has to do with saving power on the power grid.
Oh, that's right. We've had this discussion before, probably around this time last year.
Yeah, probably around the same time. Well, because there's so many like wives' tales around it that it's like it's confusing for everybody because it's like, oh, it's for farmers, you know, and it's like farmers don't care about your clock. Like, why would they? They don't. They just get up when it's light out. Like they don't care about clocks. Why would they care what the clock says or not? Yeah, and then it's like, well, it has something to do with the soldiers or whatever. It literally just has to do with like electricity use, which admittedly has been a gigantic argument in the States these days. I don't know if you guys are having it down there. But there's a lot of people in the States. There's a lot of people in the States that are convinced that like it's some kind of conspiracy or whatever to have people move over to solar/electric vehicles and that kind of stuff. That it's like some kind of conspiracy against them or something. I don't know. And it's this wild argument, you know, because just a little while ago in California, they were going through this like wild heat wave again. And you know, they put out a notice to everybody that's on the grid. Hey, don't charge your car and run your AC and all of that stuff, all of this electricity, all at the same time. Like charge your car in off-peak hours if you're running your air conditioner, because there's 40 million people all using their air conditioner and charging their cars and doing all this stuff all at the same time in the afternoon. So try to space out those things, right?
Do you reckon it would be more than 2% of the population that are actually abiding by those suggestions?
In California, it's probably definitely more than 2%.
Yeah, I suppose they're all,
because it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple to add like a timer to your car charger, whatnot, to have it turn on at certain times. And a lot of the new car charging stations, you can actually just set them to like don't charge until 10 p.m. or don't charge until midnight. It's just a boop boop boop. There you go. Charge after this hour, right? Same thing as like with your computer. Like your computer's set to restart at like 3 a.m. or something when it does its updates, right? And then it's just will restart after the updates are done. It's just push a couple buttons. It's not a big deal. But you know, a lot of conservatives have lost their minds about how like they want us to switch to all electrical, and we can't even use the electrical. Start crying and screaming about their diesel truck or whatever, you know. And it's just like, hey, man, if new technology is coming out that will, in the long term, definitely save you money and make your overall life experience a little bit better, why not embrace it? You know, why not? Why not figure out how to implement that instead of screaming into your pillow like a baby and kicking your feet around and crying when you're 50 years old? Like, what the fuck, man? So, I mean, I understand, like, I can't afford to go buy a top line $150,000 electric vehicle at this point. But over the next 5 to 10 years, Ford, Chevy, GMC, Dodge, all these companies are coming out with electric vehicles. Like Ford has a new all-electric pickup truck. Rivian has a pickup truck that's all-electric that tows RVs. Like you can literally tow your RV with an electric truck. It's a pickup truck. It's all kind of crazy looking, but I've seen a couple of them driving around recently too. And they have similar-ish ranges to gas and diesel vehicles to tow a trailer. Like I was doing the calculation on their website with my trailer that I have. I have an RV, right? A caravan, whatever you want to call it.
Caravan, yeah. Let's go with that because it's the accurate term.
For you guys, you weirdos. You bikies.
I think that's what he's called them too.
They
sorry, Romany
so
people.
the range that I would have gotten off of that vehicle was very similar to I have a big pickup truck that I take it with. It's very similar-ish sort of range because I can get about 250 miles before I got to fill up again, towing the trailer, right? And so you go like, okay, well, if I can get 250 miles off an electric fill up, like how much is it to fill up my truck? Well, it's like $95 to fill up my truck. Okay, how much was it to charge the electric truck? Like $1.85, right? And you're like, okay, so that's that just on the basis of like not buying gas. You're kind of like, okay, like not having to do oil changes, but you still have to lube the chassis and change some of the fluids in an electric vehicle, not as much, but okay. And you just kind of like, you go like, okay, over the lifespan, if I have a $50,000 gas truck and I have a $50,000 electric truck, over the lifespan of making the payments and all that kind of stuff are all going to look fairly similar, but the out-of-pocket expense every week is going to be significantly less. Over that 10-year period of like driving that truck, I'm going to come out at a much higher benefit, although you might not notice it in the moment, right? Like you might not notice it day to day or anything like that. But if you were to add it up over that time period, because like I know for me driving my truck, I spend an average of about $400 a month in fuel, right? With towing the trailers around, driving to and from work, picking up lumber, driving all around, doing all that stuff. I spend about $400 a month. If the gas prices go way down, I spend about $280. If they go way up, I spend about $500. What, you know, it's all in that range. But you go like, well, that's like $5,000 a year I spend in fuel, right? If I could eliminate $5,000 a year in fuel, that's $5,000 I could put into my retirement account and get $5,000 closer to retiring, right? While still spending the same amount of money, but I'm going to end up an extra $5,000 towards my retirement, right? So it's just crap like that, which people would easily brush off and just go like, well, that's not a big deal. But you go like, if you over 10 years, that's an extra $50,000 in my retirement account. That does end up being a big deal, especially over a 30 or 40 year period. You're talking about.
That's another thing I was going to talk about too, was that the the batteries that they're using in the cars, they have, what do they have, a 10-year lifespan or something
They do.
before
Yeah.
you've got to replace them. So then you're looking at another expense there, but you're still probably coming in less than all of that.
Yeah, you're coming in much higher, and you have a captured waste, right? That's a significant difference. It's like, yes, it does take a lot to dig out, for instance, lithium out of the ground, right? Like lithium mining, there ain't no joke about how that's dangerous. But so is oil mining. Oil drilling causes so many issues every year. And when you buy that gasoline, you burn it and you don't have anything left. You just have fumes in the air. You just have gases in the air. You just have waste in the air. You don't have anything with you. Yes, let's say you do use up those batteries, but you have captured that waste as those batteries, right? You have an actual identifiable item that there's something you have to do with now, right? As opposed to the waste being all over in the atmosphere from you driving around for 10 years, right? Right now, the recycling of those batteries is not very efficient, right? It's not super efficient to recycle those batteries. So often they're stored in, landfills or recycle facilities, whatever the hell you want to call them. But we still have landfills and recycling facilities and garbage facilities and all that kind of crap right now too, also, right? But within the next 10 years, somebody is most likely going to come up with a financial way to utilize that waste, right? With some form of recycling or something. Now, I'm not saying there's a guarantee on that, but there's a very, very, very high probability that there are a lot of corporate entities that are going, hey, this battery waste is coming. It is a tangible object. If we can figure out what to do with this tangible object, we could probably profit off of this significantly, right? Companies are motivated by things like that. If you try to motivate companies around a completely intangible thing, right, they have a strong tendency to drag their heels. They're just not, I'm not, well, there's this idea. Maybe we'll put a couple bucks in it. But if you go like, well, hey, there's going to be 50 million battery operated cars, you're going to go like, there's going to be 50 million battery packs. They're already made. They already exist. Somebody's going to capitalize on.
Yeah, it's like a little carrot dangling in front of their nose.
Yeah, exactly.
Already doing it.
What's that?
Already doing it.
Yeah.
Tesla's set up a rental system. So instead of buying the car outright, you lease the car. And then at the end of the lifespan of the battery banks, they take the battery bank and they will check each battery.
Right.
And some of the batteries in the bank, they'll be dead. That's why the car needs to be recycled.
Right.
But then in the bank, there's some batteries that are just average and they'll get recycled. And then there's the really good batteries that didn't degrade at all in the whole lifespan of the car.
Yeah.
They get cherry picked, and their plan is to send them to Mars.
Yeah.
Because they're basically immortal lithium-ion batteries. I've got one pair of batteries from my vape I've been using for 5 years.
Right.
And without any degradation. But I've gone through probably about 10 sets that I've ended up having to throw out. But that one golden pair, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of variation, and it's chaos. Like, it's not the manufacturing that creates the perfect battery. It's just by sheer chance when they start to be used that something a bit of a wild card happens, and you get a really good.
So there's the obvious difference in technology. You go like, remember the giant brick cell phones, the big gray cell phones? They had the big giant battery on them.
Yeah.
They only lasted like a half an hour or whatever. I mean, nowadays you have a tiny little battery that runs a cell phone with a movie screen on it for 15 hours or whatever. Like, the technology is going to advance. And I can say from a personal standpoint that we had a Prius. We had one of those old like hybrid Priuses,
Yeah.
and the batteries had gone bad because a friend of ours crashed it and damaged one of the batteries, right? And they went through and tested all the batteries. Say, hey, look, you got to replace all of them. That's just, it's all fried. You got to replace them. So we went like, oh crap, okay. Well, how much are the new batteries? They go like, oh, the new battery pack was like $7,000, right? And you're like, oh my god, that's crazy. He goes, well, that's a brand new one. We can actually let me take a look and see if there's a rebuilt battery. And they had done that exact same thing. They went through cell by cell essentially and like replaced the fucked up parts, rebuilt it, put it back together. Well, the aftermarket rebuilt battery was only $2,800, and you just kind of go like, well, $2,800 sucks, but it sucks way less than 7,000, right?
Mhm.
And so those guys are making their money because they probably got the battery for free, did the work on it, resold it. The guys that were sold it to the shop, they installed it, redid everything, fixed up the car and stuff, and they made their money and whatnot. And like, but that's just the simple like the aftermarket situation where you go like, oh, well, replacing the batteries is going to be $10,000 in 7 years, and you go like, okay, but within that 7 years, there's going to be other avenues in which this can be replaced or whatever, right? Like so. It's really difficult to argue with people, especially because people have brought up the solar, like installing solar, because I've talked about it quite a bit. Because we were going to do a full solar array at our other house before we moved up here, and unfortunately for us, because right now it's not financially viable for us to do it, even though we want to do it, and it's something that we're motivated to do. We can't spend the money on it without knowing that we're going to get some of our investment back, right? The electricity that we would produce would essentially just go back to the grid, and then the grid would be selling the electricity that we made. So we wouldn't get paid for that electricity. So, eventually the new contracts will come to fruition as people argue for them within the state here. And at that point in time, we can probably reevaluate it that, like, if we're going to get paid for the kilowatts that we make that go back into the grid, then it might be worth it for that investment. Now, right now, certain people, it's probably not financially viable to just go out and buy an electric car, right? But if you're talking about tax advantages, tax credits, certain things that could make that investment look better when it comes time to replace your car, because you might need to replace your car 4 years from now. Okay. In the meantime, drive your regular car and don't act like a psycho when somebody talks about electric cars. That's all I'm asking. And then when it comes time to replace your car, maybe a hybrid is a better option for you, right? Because I can tell you, when we used to drive that Prius around, the damn thing, if you drove it on the freeway, you'd get like 63 miles to the gallon. Now, it wasn't a fancy car. You wasn't, you weren't getting laid just by driving it around. But when you're talking about getting 63 miles to the gallon, a road trip ain't too daunting of an idea when you're like, oh damn, guys, we're gonna drive to California and back for $50. It's like, it changes the game for just an average person. But I don't know. But that's where we're at in the States. It's pretty goofy.
Our solar rebates certainly aren't what they used to be when they were pushing solar heavily down here. But yeah, you certainly get a kickback on your electricity bill for putting power back into the grid down here.
See, we get the net metering, which will make your bill $0, right? But our current electric bill is not enough to offset like buying, because I think our total bill was going to be somewhere in the range of $40,000, $50,000, right, for a full
to get it put in.
Yeah. And admittedly, it's like I could probably do it, but like I'm not an expert in installing whole house solar systems, so it's like, why would I not hire some professionals to do that and have a warranty and a guarantee and make sure that everything is correct, and if something's fucked up, they'll come fix it or whatever. But it would be a significant amount of money if there wasn't going to be a financial return to just throw that money and go like, yeah, we're doing a thing, and it's like, well, with that amount of money, we could actually just invest it in something and make money back off of the 40 grand until we had another 40 grand from that 40 grand. And then I guess buy solar panels with a hypothetical free amount of invested money returns, like, it's just, but you know how it is, man.
I think it was about 10 years ago that the Australian government started, I'm not sure if it was the Australian government or whether it was just state by state, but they were encouraging everyone to get solar. So they, were giving rebates and stuff so you could get it installed nice and cheap. And you get your kickbacks off your bill and whatnot. And there's 3 different solar arrays on this house now.
Yeah. So we get some tax credits for sure. And then we also get a small, what do you call it? A small like stipend or something, like a certain amount of money towards it, which I think was like $2,000 or something, but out of 40, it's not a crazy amount. Right. But the main way that we would have air quote made money off of it was our bill was going to be zero, right? But our bill's not enough to really offset and go like, yeah, let's make a $400 payment on a loan every month when our electric bill is like $90 a month. We're just going backwards spending money for what, and there previously is a program in the county that we lived in before. They were buying back at 11 cents a kilowatt. But all of the spots were full that they were accepting. So you would have to go on a waiting list, and that contract was going to expire. So they do a contract renewal on how much they're going to buy back because the rates are going to change, right, over the years. So they have to negotiate a new contract, and they didn't have one. They didn't have one negotiated. So it was like we technically would have been on the waiting list of a program that was going to expire in like 9 months. So, and then with no guarantee that there was a new contract going to come in because they hadn't negotiated the new one yet. Because this was like right when COVID was beginning. So like fucking everything was, they're like, no one's even here. So I don't know if they're going to ever do that. It's like, well, we are going to go back to doing stuff normally. Do you think maybe you're ever going to do it? We don't know. We don't know what's happening. Like, okay, great. Yeah. So, with no contract, it was like, well, if they're not going to buy back our surplus electricity, then this isn't going to be worthwhile. That house is, since we turned it into a rental, and it actually, if there was a contract in place and had we done the solar, it actually would have probably made it much better to have that as a rental that was also making money off of the electricity that it was selling. But hindsight, we don't know what I don't even know what the contract is down there if they ever got one. So it could have worked out good, it could have worked out bad, but like without any guarantees, I'm not spending that kind of money on anything.
GRB, I think they say 20 to 25 years if they're looked after, regularly cleaned and stuff. Your solar panel as a lifespan.
It depends on the brand. Like some of them say they're supposed to last 50 years, but I don't really take that with a whole grain of salt.
So take 50 years with the whole bag of salt because 50 is going to go to the top.
Yeah. But some of them realistically do 20 to 25 years without real issue. I have a buddy that's a electrical systems engineer who does all that for a really big reputable company, and so he gets to work with that stuff all the time and has a real, he's just a bucket of knowledge of that stuff. And it's like, he's like, these ones suck, these ones are good. He knows like So I go to him for specific advice on stuff, especially around that. And you know, he set up his own system on his house. And I've done a couple of walkthroughs on his system that he has set up on his house. He actually only has 8 panels set up, and it offsets his whole electric usage of his house the way how he has it set up, because he built his own battery bank. It's kind of wild. He built his own battery bank in these like Craftsman toolboxes. So you like open up the big drawer and it's like battery array, and then like close the drawer, like next drawer it's like battery array. It's like, holy crap, you made these? He's like, fuck yeah, I made these. Like,
yeah, this
all right, dude. Like, fucking cool.
Battery arrays have just been cost prohibitive up until now. It's only sort of becoming affordable to regular people to have a battery array now, I think, unless like you build it yourself.
Yeah, he's a whiz at that stuff, and I've got him working on a bunch of we're working on a bunch of aquarium related stuff that will eventually come out once my fish room is built. We were gonna try to release like some DIY like built kits already. We were gonna try to do that, but the company that was gonna sponsor that like backed out. So now we're probably just gonna release like the plans for everybody for free, just to be like, here's how you can do it. Like, we're probably just gonna do that in like a Google Doc or something that people can download for free, you know, off just some Google Cloud host or whatever that we set up, and then
yeah, all you got to do
obviously
is
like
become a member of Corvus Oskin's YouTube channel first.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll probably they'll just be like affiliate links, so that'll be the money generating side of it. Is that if like people buy products through the affiliate links, then you know we get a kickback for it, and then just do it that way. We were trying to do a branded deal. We're trying to do a branded deal that people could order it, and then they're just gonna set it up, right? But
actually, Huawei, that's a really good point as well, because there's a hot water heater on this house that's, I believe, was installed in this house in the mid 70s, and the hot water system is still heating up water via the sun. So that's, you know, nearly 50 years probably since that was put on the roof.
Oh, you have a sun heated one?
Yeah.
Yeah, those work really good where it's hot all the time. Not so much here where it'll get frozen.
Yeah, it's also got a like a connected to the actual power for when it's not generating enough power from the solar.
Cool.
Can drag energy from the house to heat it as well.
Add a little extra to it.
But yeah, I think that's definitely outside the norm for the functional period of a solar panel. But I do believe it pays to keep them clean and stuff as well. For them to
I suspect, Blackie, your one uses piping that heats up rather than converting. It's not photovoltaic. Like, it's not converting it to electricity and then doing an element.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's one of the ones with the big barrel hot water heater on the roof with a couple of solar panels in front of it. I'm not sure how they work.
Yeah, some of them it's just black pipes, and the sun hits the black pipes because of the small size of them.
Have you seen there's one that look like these like silver tubes? They look like silver, like big long teardrops, and the way that they work is like they get heated up by the sun, and then they the way that they're shaped, they start to move the water around within themselves. Right. And it's like, I thought those were really cool because those actually work all the way up in Alaska. I was like, holy crap. And then I was like, but does it actually work? You know what I mean? I'm like, Alaska, come on. Are you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, I'd have to actually see it in Alaska while I was standing there and be like, does this thing actually work? You know, like, where's the guy? Where's the guy who relies on this for sure? You know,
the house next door to us, their pool heating system is like a mesh of little black pipes, like Z-Beam was just suggesting, laid all across the roof.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just, they're all like, you know, maybe a third of an inch in diameter, these pipes, but it's just this big net of these pipes across the roof, which the pool pumps the water through, just heated by natural sunlight, no electricity or anything. But you know, does it work on a cloudy day if it's not going to But it's a good concept.
It is. I mean, it works. If it works, it works, right? All right, boys. I really got to go to bed now. Okay.
Rightio.
Love you guys. I'll see you next week.
Good night, Nick.
Take it greasy.
You better heal up. Quit vaping. Quit vaping.
Yeah,
it's not good for your. It's not good for your socket.
What?
Quit vaping. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's healing out really fast.
Oh, like super fast.
Bad. Good night, Joel.
Does heal quick.
All right, night.
Take it easy. See you next time. I'm actually quite surprised. I have not wrestled a single crocodile this whole stream.
It's like snake energy, holding things back.
So I was so impressed with myself. But in saying that, I'm incredibly busting now.
Go for it, man.
Well, you want to keep talking, or should we just call it off? Call it quits?
Yeah, I could call it quits. Yeah.
Go and deal with your pain in a corner somewhere.
Yeah, go crawl up into a ball.
All right, let's do that then. I don't want to have to make people wait for me to do a wee to come back and say goodbye. So we'll just go. We'll just go. We'll leave everyone wherever you are. You're up there. There you are. Thanks for everyone hanging out again. Thanks to Replay. So, Replay Team Sick. I might change it to Replay Team Sick. Fully sick, bro. I'm not going
Fully
to.
sick.
That's fun to say it that way when you make a mispronunciation.
Yeah.
Thanks Huawei and GRB for being expert mods. Thanks everyone for watching, especially you people that have been here since the start and made it all the way through to here. Like 2.5 hours of your day gone that you'll never get back. But, you know, if you want to get it back, you can watch the replay in a little while when it goes up on YouTube.
Watch it in reverse.
You won't get it back. You'll get it wasted twice. That's not the most sensible logic, is it?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everyone for hanging out. Appreciate every single one of you and your time. Thanks Shanna and Joel, of course, for coming up, and Z-Beam for being here. And that's the last burp you'll get for this show. So take it easy. And until next week, we'll see yous when we're looking at yous.